Based on one of the most popular Japanese manga series of all time, Dragonball Evolution follows a young warrior on an epic adventure to discover his destiny and save the world from the forces of darkness. For his 18th birthday, mild-mannered Goku is given a mystical Dragon Ball, one of only 7 in existence, which combines to grant a perfect wish to whoever possesses them, but an ancient warlord named Piccolo has escaped eternal imprisonment and is on his own quest to gather the Dragon Balls. Goku must enlist the help of his friends and the power of his evolving martial arts skills to defeat Piccolo before it's too late. Packed with spectacular visual effects, high-flying action, and over an hour of hard-hitting extras, Dragon Ball Evolution Z Edition brings the legend to life as never before. I'm Corey.
And I'm Paul.
And we are the B-Movie Bros.
We review B-movies to the best of our ability.
Sometimes we get off topic, but randomness is a gift. Welcome to week 4 of Martial March, where we bring you the 2009 martial epic Dragon Ball Evolution, the Z Edition.
What is wrong with us?
Now, you heard what the back of the DVD case had to say, so let's hear what we have to say. We'll jump right into this shit with our technical difficulties, top and bottom 3. Let's start with the top 3 for this one. Paul, what do you have for us?
My God, this was one of the toughest things I've ever had to do. Alright, for number 3, this movie eventually ended. For number 2, they kept Master Roshi a perverted old man, meaning that a total of 1 character was somewhat similar to their anime counterpart. And number 1, when Akira Toriyama, the creator of the Dragon Ball series, saw this movie, he was so horrified that he wrote the movie Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, and eventually brought back the Dragon Ball series, because he couldn't stand the thought of this awful movie being the last thing made relating to his beloved series.
Well, I have to say, number 3, there are parts of this movie that are so bad that they are deleted from the movie. And the people that made this movie actually had the courtesy to delete some of it, so we didn't have to watch it all.
How very nice of them.
Number 2, this movie is less than 90 minutes long, which is less time than most movies we watch. Number 1, the concept of the movie, a live-action Dragon Ball Z movie, is actually a really good concept. It can be done very well, and I've seen it done well on the internet. But we have to take a look at our bottom 3.
For number 3, the characters are just awful. They're uninteresting stereotypes who fail to make anyone care about them. And this is made much worse by the fact that they're based off existing characters who are all really interesting and have a lot of personality. For number 2, my therapy bill after seeing this atrocity is through the roof. I now have PTSD, depression, schizophrenia, a migraine, and diarrhea from sitting through this fucking movie. And for number 1, I could actually hear my inner child crying in pain for being curb stomped by this fucking movie.
That's some pretty serious issues there, man.
It's a pretty fucking shitty movie.
Well, I have to say that number 3, the story is all wrong. This is based on an existing work. And all they did was take the names of the characters and say, we can do it better. And by better, they mean fucking worse. Number 2, all the characters are wrong. Like you said, they're all established characters. They have personalities. They have traits. None of which the writers in this movie utilize. Like, how can you be spoon-fed everything that goes into this movie, but you took none of it. You're like a fucking infant, spitting it out all over the people that gave it to you. Oh, Goku is funny? Oh, we don't think so. He's gonna be a fucking douchebag that wears Abercrombie and Fitch.
And cries about not being able to get laid.
Number 1, this movie suffers from a syndrome I like to call titleitis. What is titleitis, you may ask? Well, it is when a movie or a show or a game or something is made based on another work and uses the title from that work. Other famous movies that suffer from titleitis are the Super Mario Brothers movie, Resident Evil, Dawn of the Dead, and there are plenty more out there. But people take that title and compare it to the original work. It might not be bad, as in the Dawn of the Dead, a remake from 2005, but because it has the title of the original, people automatically compare it to that, and it makes it a bad movie or a worse movie. Dragon Ball Evolution isn't a good movie, and the fact that it uses the Dragon Ball title just drives it so much further down that title-itis is the worst thing about this movie.
Is that a term that you coined, or is that a real term?
I came up with it while I was, like taking a shower or something. Normally at this point in the show, we like to do a quote war, but we don't want to subject you to any of the asinine things that are said in this movie.
I feel like any quote we would do would just be a slap in the face to the original content, so we're gonna avoid it for this one episode.
And since Paul's inner child is already in the ICU, we don't want to push it over the edge.
Just to talk a little bit about this movie, Dragon Ball, as we said, is still to this day the most popular anime in the world. It premiered as a manga in 1984 and went all the way till 1995. The anime went from 1986 to 1996, and 20 years later, it's still around. People are still demanding more. There's a new series out. This is really popular. So this movie really just kind of took something that everybody knows from the last 20 years and just exploited it. It was such an abomination, and I agree with you on the whole titleitis thing. It's really impossible to not look at it as an adaptation rather than any of its other merits, which also did suck, but it's just such a slap in the face to the entire thing.
This actually isn't the first live-action adaptation of the Dragon Ball series. There are two other movies that were made before this. One in 1990, a Korean movie called Dragon Ball, Son Goku Fight, Son Goku Win. And a 1991 Chinese movie called Dragon Ball, The Magic Begins.
Both of which were much smaller budget, but they had a lot more heart. And what's interesting nowadays on YouTube, you'll see live-action Dragon Ball adaptations from people who really have hardly any budget, just doing it for the fun of it, and it's so much better than this. You can just tell it's not trying to exploit an already existing thing for money. It just makes all the difference to me.
Now, if you have any comments or any facts on Dragon Ball that you would like to share with us, or pit your knowledge against Paul's, you'll probably lose. You can contact us at BMovieBros, all one word, on Twitter. You can tweet Paul directly at BMoviePaul. Leave us a comment here on SoundCloud, or find us on Facebook at B-movie space BROS. That's B-Movie Bros.
Or if you simply need a shoulder to cry on after watching this movie, we're also here for you.
Now, let's just give our final take on this piece of shit. We'll give you a score, 1 to 10 on our shot scale, 1 being the best, 10 being the worst. How many shots do you need to get through this movie? Paul?
I gave this movie a 10 out of 10.
Oh, I didn't see that one coming. I gave it a 9 out of 10. There was so much potential for this film, yet none of it was tapped. It's like the writers said, we'll use names, Dragon Balls, and fighting, and make everything else up. This movie is such an atrocity that watching it makes pregnant women go into labor, and cleaning up dog turds seem like the opportunity of a lifetime. The acting is terrible, characters are less interesting than a bowl of soggy cereal, and the fight scenes just plain suck. With all the available source material, this should have been a cakewalk. But when you decide to scrap the source and start anew, you better have your shit together, which Dragon Ball Evolution does not. And I need a drink.
So, Dragon Ball Evolution was a boring, poorly constructed pile of shit that should have never been made. There's absolutely nothing about this movie worth watching. The characters are cliche stereotypes, the special effects are horrendous, and the fighting scenes look ridiculous. This movie would have just been ignored by everyone who isn't a masochist. However, they attempted to market off the popularity of the Dragon Ball series that has been loved by millions of fans worldwide for over 20 years. Not only was this movie bad, it was one of the worst adaptations I've ever seen. Other than the title, character names, and basic premise, Dragon Ball Evolution has nothing in common with the Dragon Ball series and was made just to cash in on its popularity. This movie is the worst case of a big company exploiting and shitting on the popularity of someone else's work just to make a quick buck. I don't think I've ever been more outraged watching a movie before, and I've seen Feast. The people who wrote this abomination couldn't just fail due to their own lack of talent. They had to drag down a beloved cultural icon with them. That is unforgivable. I seriously hope someone got fired and castrated for this movie.
Well, Paul, why don't you tell us how you really feel?
Fuck this piece of shit.
Now, we know not everyone likes to watch the same kind of shit that we do, so we like to give every B movie that we review an A movie companion, a companion movie of a higher class and higher standard. For me, my companion for Dragon Ball Evolution is the 2008 martial arts epic Ip Man.
I picked the 2013 fantasy The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug.
I picked Ip Man because both movies focus on a martial artist. Both have an invading force trying to conquer the hero's home, whether it be alien or another nation. The central character stands up to fight against the big baddie to defend his people, both physically and their honor. Both movies have martial arts instructors playing a key role in each film. Martial arts, punching, lots of punching, and screaming. And that's why Ip Man is an A-movie version of Dragon Ball Evolution.
Okay, so I chose The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, because both movies have a dragon in it. Dragon Ball Evolution had the eternal dragon Shenron, and The Desolation of Smaug had the dragon Smaug. Both movies are an adaptation of an existing and much beloved work. Dragon Ball Evolution is the adaptation of Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball series. The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, is an adaptation of the book The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Both movies are about a group of characters traveling to a distant land full of magic and strange creatures with the fate of something on the line. Both movies missed the point of the source material completely. Dragon Ball was about a character named Goku, a simple-minded yet heroic and pure-hearted guy training to be the best fighter in the world, and meeting new people and saving the world while doing it. Not a story about some high school kid trying to get laid and avenging his grandfather's death. The Hobbit was a story about Bilbo Baggins, a small and seemingly insignificant creature known as a hobbit, who through an unusual twist of fate leaves the comforts of his home and goes on a journey to new lands and discovers that the world is much larger and more fantastic than he ever imagined, as opposed to a movie which is just a 3-hour reminder that Lord of the Rings was once a thing. Thanks, Peter Jackson, we got it. Finally, both movies should be avoided at all costs, especially if you're a fan of the source material, unless you feel the need to make a horrible life decision, in which case I suggest using crystal meth as an alternative.
I mean, at least that way your life might turn into Breaking Bad.
It's true. If there's anything Breaking Bad taught me, it's that crystal meth, not the worst decision you can make.
But, here's some good decisions we can make, and that's how to drink away the flick. Drink away the flick. Come on and grab your drink. Let's drink away the flick. We'll give you some drinking games to help you get through this abysmal piece of shit. Number 1, anytime Goku wears a tight shirt, drink. Number 2, whenever a new character is introduced, drink. Number 3, anytime the word key is used, drink. Number 4, whenever you see a circle with 7 things inside of it, drink. And of course, number 5, because it's Martial March, every time a fight scene begins, take a drink.
I've got 1, every time Piccolo is green, take a drink. Number 2, every time they talk about element bending or something stupid like that, take a drink. Number 3, every time someone mentions the Uzaru, take a drink. And number 4, every time you hate yourself for watching this movie, take another drink.
And those are your ways you can drink away the flick. Now we've come to the point where we need to rank the movies we've seen this month. We've seen 4 movies. Number 4 for me, Dragon Ball Evolution. It just has absolutely nothing going for it, except me out the door to the liquor store. Number 3, Death Trance. Although it really doesn't have anything going for it, at least I'm bored enough to find something else to do other than escape where I'm at. Number 2, Ninja the Protector. It had moments. Number 1, Kung Fu Mummy. It had me laughing.
My ranking's a little bit different. For number 4, I have Dragon Ball Evolution. This movie is the reason I cry myself to sleep at night. Number 3, Ninja the Protector. It was so awful, I just don't even have words for it. Number 2, Death Trance. For a movie that had so many effects, it was so easily forgettable. And number 1 is Kung Fu Mummy. A movie that really was not very good at all, but still managed to be somewhat entertaining and was better than the other 3 movies we watched.
Yeah, I really wouldn't say anything this month was really worth watching or that I would particularly watch it again. It just kind of was a month of bad.
This month is very disappointing. I really hope next month is better. God knows we need a better movie.
Well, things are looking up because next month we're going to begin April Apocalypse, where every movie we review is going to have apocalypse in the title. We're going to start out with the 2005 Sci-Fi Channel original Alien Apocalypse, starring none other than B-movie superstar Bruce Campbell.
This is already better than Dragonball Evolution.
So any additional comments you have for Martial March or the upcoming April Apocalypse, leave it here on SoundCloud. Tweet us at BMovieBros, that's all one word. Paul directly at BMoviePaul. Or find us on Facebook at B-movie space BROS. That's BMovieBros. If you want to check out what's happening in Pittsburgh, the town we're from, you can visit our friends over at riversedgepgh.com. Any last words before we sign off?
I don't ever want to talk about this movie ever again. I just want to live my life and pretend it didn't actually happen.
So until next time, friends, be brave, be alive, be back next week for April Apocalypse.